right, let's get to it. Bam. Giannis was on him. Didn't matter. It didn't matter. I mean, for all the talk about it, who was not here, Giannis was here. Bam went right through him. And it wasn't just that he went right through him and the mindset that we've discussed, but it was also the drop step, the spin moves, the face up. It's all there. Spoelstra talked about, Greg, this is the evolution of a great player. We've talked about a mindset evolution. Sometimes we kind of get away from the fact that there are some technical things that he needs to improve on so that he'll have that mindset. He'll have the confidence to go to certain things because he has perfected them. It looks like there are things that he's worked on this offseason that he's starting to incorporate into his game.
Including the over the head move from Dwayne. He pulled that off after going coast to coast. He had a great game. And you see the 13 rebounds. I think that he's going to absolutely have a career high in that respect. And this is fascinating. I looked back through preseason after looking at the box score tonight. Bam's not really getting a lot of assists. So he's literally suppressing that element of his game to lean into this scoring thing. And so then to see him get into his bag and do these different things and start to get aggressive and not back down. And particularly in the first half is where this was applicable, where it mattered. He was getting to the line initially, and he didn't really have to get to the line in the second half, let's be honest. But so to me, there was nothing bad from Bam. It was a great start for him. But it's just interesting to think of him as to me, him and Jokic are the best passing big men in basketball, pretty much. I mean, there's an argument to be made for maybe Cat, but now he's essentially completely pivoting from that mentality, and it shows in the assist numbers. But boy, I think it's probably the best thing for this team considering Kyle and Jimmy are here.
I think it's become more clear than ever that he's, like I mentioned earlier, not to sound repetitive, that he's really actually being empowered as a scorer like everybody's been wanting him to, because it did seem like before there was a slight disconnect as to whether it was him not having the right mentality, the team not empowering him. I don't see either of those issues. As after having watched preseason, after having watched this game, he just looks more aggressive, flat out. It looks like it's kind of both of those things coming together, the mentality, what Ether was talking about with just the skills and all of that coming together, and the team empowering him. Lowry has been a perfect fit in that aspect of just getting Bam involved. And I was going to mention the same thing that Leif said about the assists, because we had talked about that in the preseason, and it held up again. He only got 1 assist while Kyle, Tyler, and Jimmy combined for 17. So we're seeing a lot more of a traditional, the guards are the ones creating. Bam's being used as a big and kind of just being optimized as somebody who could, get you easy points, get you easy rebounds, not to mention the stuff that he does as possibly the best defensive player on planet Earth. I just think now that if he's going to be giving you, a consistent 20, 21, 22 points, I'm starting to believe it, man. I know we've talked about whether or not he could be the leading scorer coming into the season, and I've always had my doubts with him because of this stuff. But he's really putting it together so quickly that I'm like, okay, I think this is actually sustainable. Now, like I said earlier, I would want to see a sustained effort from Bam in this regard, just because I feel like he took it personal tonight. I had a feeling he was going to come out guns blazing tonight, and he was just taking jumpers in Giannis's face. There was no hesitation whatsoever for him trying to get to his shot. I think he's only going to get better at figuring out, when he gets a bad matchup, when there's a mismatch, and just kind of going from there. But he looks so fluid. Obviously you want to have more assists and turnovers for Bam going forward. But other than that, incredible. What we saw tonight from Bam, I think is everything Heat fans have been wanting to see, and doing it on Giannis, not even doing it on a smaller team like we see sometimes when he blows up, whether it's the Celtics, the Nets. He did it on Giannis, the only other big who comes close to him when it comes to mobility and just overall rim protection. It's just incredibly impressive to me.
Yeah, to me, this is why, when people will look past this game nationally and say, well, they didn't have a bunch of their guys. And that is accurate. Okay. I mean, there's not a full complement. We can't talk about Oladipo with the Heat because we don't know what he's going to be when he comes back. Although I will say I did watch him in pregame. He's moving around. I mean, he's shooting. I mean, he's on the court. Okay. Which is, to me, there's some significance to that. But Milwaukee did not have their full complement. But with that said, again, they still had the guy who was the Finals MVP. They still had, a guy who, again, Olympic gold medal. Okay, right after winning a championship. There's enough that they had on the floor that what the Heat did tonight, as an extension of what was going on, was significant. That's it for us tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.